How y'all doing, my Pokemon Set Jogs and Cajun Plumbers? The Power Gamer here. And this video is a little different for me to film. You remember a little while ago, Nintendo actually put out a tourney in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate called the Amiibo Tag Team Tourney. And it was probably the most different event tournament that they've had so far. For the Amiibo Tag Team Tourney, you, as a player, and your Amiibo would team up together against somebody else and that other person's Amiibo. And it was a lot of fun. But here's the thing, I needed to train my Amiibo. I got into one fight with the Amiibo that I had just at its normal level that I'd completely forgotten about. And, well, we got creamed. So after we got royally creamed, I decided that it was time. I needed to train my Amiibo in the ways of fighting. And so, me and Uncle Jimmy here, trained. Now, I'd already trained Uncle Jimmy a little bit. Alright, he already knew some stuff, but I hadn't taught him all my tricks. So I decided I was gonna make the climb to Amiibo level 50. And here's my journey on training Uncle Jimmy. I decided to put my best foot forward and started with my main, Joker, to see where Uncle Jimmy was at a starting point. You see, I hadn't trained Uncle Jimmy in a while, so I wanted to make sure we started off with my best foot forward. Because the student can only be as good as the teacher if they want to be better than them. So I decided to start with my main, Joker, to make sure that Uncle Jimmy was properly whipped into shape. And right off the bat I could tell that Uncle Jimmy needed some work. He was only at level 15, I needed to get him to level 50, and he was barely able to stand my bad playing Joker. As you can see in this footage here, he easily got his ass handed to him. He didn't know exactly when to attack, he was holding smash attacks for a little too long, and he was able to get a couple good things from this. Such as that, taunt after a kill. But overall, Uncle Jimmy really did not know how to react to even like slightly decent play. So in the end, it's no real surprise that... So Uncle Jimmy clearly wasn't ready, but I didn't expect him to be ready for my Joker, so that's fine. But Uncle Jimmy needed to learn how to handle himself on the battlefield, with a couple different people. So I decided first, I would have him go against RNG. I wanted to know how Uncle Jimmy would be able to handle RNG. Now I'm not a hero main, but I'm also not that bad with hero. So I didn't expect Uncle Jimmy to do all that well, I just needed to train him in the ways of RNG. And right away we're not off to a very good start. Sure, he did get a good smash in, and he was able to read the roll, but I might have taught him a little too well with the taunts because he fell for a pretty easy combo. He also never learned how to properly punish when I missed that smash attack, and in general, he wasn't doing all that hot. He did a fine job, but he held that smash attack way too long, and I knew that if taken online, he would definitely get hit hard for it. But on the bright side, he had at least learned to punish when I went for a spike. Instead of getting hit and spiked, he actually did put me back on stage as well himself. But he went too far off stage on his last stock, and at a high percentage, he was not going to make it back, especially not with... After that was over, I decided he should probably have some training on characters with command inputs. So I decided to take my best command input character and put Uncle Jimmy in the ring a few rounds with him. By now Uncle Jimmy was getting really good at fighting, but he still had a couple issues, namely holding smash attacks for just a tad too long. You can see examples of it here, here, and even here, which ended up costing him the match most of the time. So it's no real surprise that in the end... Now that Uncle Jimmy had been whipped into shape, had some experience with RNG, and some experience with command inputs, I needed him to taste some cheese. And what's more cheese in Smash Bros. Than command grab? So I decided to play my best command grab character against Uncle Jimmy. My Incineroar. Right off the bat, Uncle Jimmy's habit of not smashing on time does still continue. However, I noticed that there are a couple bigger problems here. While I did take advantage of him a couple times when he held his smash attacks for too long, that wasn't really my issue anymore. A bigger issue was that he didn't know when exactly I would go for a spike.
and he probably should know that by now since I almost always attempt for the sauce. Another problem that I found with Uncle Jimmy was that he didn't know how to chain. Sometimes he would chain his attacks together, but other times he would just hit me and then not go for a follow-up. When you're actually fighting though, you need to go for a follow-up, especially when you put them in a spot like that. But I could also tell he was getting better. I didn't 3-stock him this time, he did get a really good hit on me. But in the end, even that good hit wasn't enough to save him from...
But you see, I realized that if Uncle Jimmy wanted to really take the cheese, he'd have to face a much worse character. Someone like... Ness. Now, full disclosure, I think this might have been the first time I played Ness in Ultimate. I legitimately don't think I've played Ness, simply because I can't use his recovery at all. But Uncle Jimmy needed to learn what true cheese was. Uncle Jimmy needed to learn what true fear was. Uncle Jimmy needed to learn the power of PK Fire.
Now with Ness, he wasn't having too much of a hard time with the degeneracy, but he did have a couple of problems. Namely, the first one he exhibited was not chaining as much as he should. Instead of just taunting, he should have actually tried to combo me there. And even as a not very advanced Ness player, I did feel like Uncle Jimmy was a little too easy to read for his own good. There were also a couple instances in which he held his smash attacks for a little too long, and that was to his detriment, but I noticed that it was also getting less over time. And the other major complaint I had was that he should have fast fell for the final smash and been able to really cut me off properly, because I was able to roll under it. But other than that, I think he was fine this match. The only thing is, Ness hits pretty hard, and because of my degeneracy, well, I ended up...
After that, I wanted to test Uncle Jimmy's resilience to grabs, so I went with the character who I know has some of the most annoying grabs, King K. Rool. I also wanted to test Uncle Jimmy's projectile resistance, so I picked King K. Rool for that as well. I wanted to suck and cuck him. Unfortunately, that didn't work out.
And right off the bat, Uncle Jimmy was already showing progress. Multiple things that I had mentioned where he wouldn't punish or he wouldn't chain combos together were already fixed, as you can see in these opening bits. He was still a little easy to read in midair, and it did lead to me spiking him, but overall, almost everything was fixed. The only thing that he still did need to fix a little bit was his long smash attack holds, but most of the times I would hit them with a projectile because I was too far away, so he had learned to time them a little better. He had also learned to have better spacing throughout the match, so this one really didn't come down too much to luck or maybe just a problem that he had. Most of the time it just came down to the fact that, well, I've played this game a lot, and I have a lot of skill. So this one wasn't because Uncle Jimmy was bad necessarily, mainly just because I'm better. And it obviously makes sense that with K. Rool, I would...
So far with Uncle Jimmy, I had covered command grabs, command inputs, RNG, and regular grabs. And of course, BS. But now Uncle Jimmy needed to know how to fight something else entirely. So I picked the most degenerate character I could find. And I'm not saying the character's degenerate, no. I'm saying the way I play him is. Introducing my Captain Falcon.
See, I don't have much to say for this one. Uncle Jimmy was getting really good at this, and the only things that I really had to my name for this match were the fact that I went for a lot of Falcon punches, because I love going for the sauce. So I went for the sauce a lot. So the clips for this one are literally just going to be me going for the sauce. So yeah, it's pretty clear that my Captain Falcon isn't all that good. And most of the time I just go for the Falcon Punch, or the knee, or some other crappy Falcon hype beast kind of move. But it's always worth it for the sauce. So it was honestly kind of surprising that, seeing how good Uncle Jimmy was getting, he didn't win. In fact, I actually won through one of the weirdest ways I've won this entire time.
By this time, I'd covered everything I think I needed to. Uncle Jimmy was already really good at his craft, and he had already seen pretty much all of the different types of Smash players there are. So I didn't think I needed to go over anything new with him, but as he had been leveling up a lot, I wanted to see how he would handle the different types of Smash players differently. So I decided to play my hero against him again.
By now, Uncle Jimmy had already learned all of the basics of Smash. It was just a matter of tuning him up. He did have a couple of issues when it comes to combos and chaining, and he did have a couple of issues when it came to timing and spacing, as you saw with the Hatchet Man early in the game. But he was even able to pick up some techniques that I didn't even teach him. He wall jumped off the bottom right, and he even stage spiked me over there. But overall, I didn't really need to teach him anything else. It was now just a matter of getting him to level 50. I'll give you a little play-by-play of the stocks and let you watch him so you can be entertained by the video. But overall, it wasn't really a problem of what to do now or what to teach him now. It was just a matter of fine-tuning what he doesn't fully understand yet. For the last deck I wanted a big finish, so I ended up going for that Smash Ball, and I ended up getting it. In the end, he couldn't win out against a Final Smash.
I just wanted to make sure his bases were clear. After all, you can't be a good fighter if your stance isn't solid. Luckily, his was. Now, I beat him, yes, but I'm also just good at the game, because I put in a lot of work. I then needed to make sure that he was still good with command inputs. So I wanted to switch it up on him, and I played Terra again.
All of the problems that Uncle Jimmy had at this point are gone pretty much. The only problem that still persists is the long smash attacks, but even that's more infrequent now. When it comes to his chaining thing, he's constantly chaining attacks together a lot more, as you see here. The only problem that he has is that he can be a little easy to read in midair and a little easy to punish in midair, but other than that, Uncle Jimmy's getting really good at this game. But by the end, when all things were said and done, I got the final smash, and, well...
Terra's a big boss! Game!
Now, again, I won the Terry match, but I wasn't that concerned. After all, I've spent my time practicing with Terry. But I realized that I had forgotten one of the major character types that exist in Smash Bros. To be honest, I don't know how I forgot all of the anime sword fighters. All of them. So to make up for it, I started with Link, probably my original anime sword fighter character, to see how Uncle Jimmy would fare. And since Uncle Jimmy is Mario, and Mario has been seeing Link since, well, the first Smash Bros., I assumed that we would get along swimmingly.
Not much to say for this one, other than the fact that Uncle Jimmy was getting really good at spacing and timing. He was constantly able to actually land those long-held smash attacks, and he was able to properly space himself out so he wouldn't get hit too often by my sword strikes. Again, he was still slightly easy to read in midair, but it was okay, since he was getting to a point where even if I read him, he would be able to properly attack. So for this one, I'll just let you guys watch how the stocks played out and how both of us lost our stocks, and I'll see you at the end. In the end, he did a good job, but his end lag led to...
And to be fair, Uncle Jimmy handled himself very well against my Link, considering I've had practice with him since Brawl. After that, I brought my main back out. I wanted to see how he'd improved since the first match. And he improved quite a bit, actually.
In fact, he improved so much that...
But we weren't at level 50 yet. We still had a long way to go. So I started to cycle back around again. Now for this last little bit, I just went ahead and had some fun. He was almost to level 50, and all I really wanted to do was just mess around a bit, maybe put him up against some other characters like Ridley and Cloud, and I just cycled back around through some of my other characters. So now here comes the push to the edge, the final stretch, the home stretch. It's time for a training montage. So what did all of that training fetch us? Uncle Jimmy is up to level 50, I have put in many an hour, and he seems like he's an unstoppable demon. So where did we place?
Wow! Incredible!
I hate everything. How are y'all doing? My Pokemon said jokes and occasional plumbers, the Pokemon Gamer here. Thank you all so much for watching this video if you made it this far. As you can see, not the same shirt, not the same setup, as obviously, you know, I have this up. But yeah, thanks for watching if you made it this far. If you liked the video, be sure to leave a like down below. Comment below how hype this video was and how if you liked it. It took a lot of time to make, just getting all the voiceover stuff and getting all of the footage for it and cutting everything. It just took a long time. So if you made it to this point, thanks for sticking around. Subscribe to let us when new videos come up. I do sometimes more intense stuff like this, something that takes a little more time, a little more cutting. And I do plan on doing more of these kinds of videos in the future. So subscribe to get notified when those go up, and hit the bell icon to get notified as soon as they go up, as well as any other videos that I make, and as like the moment in time I go live, and share with friends about bad YouTubers such as myself. So guys, in short, thank you all so much for watching. I'm the Pokemon Gamer. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. My lights are out.